How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. See, not even prepared. Look at me. My God. So, I literally spent at least, let's see, carry the 4 times pi squared. About 9 hours. About 9 hours in the car today, which is just absolutely crazy. For all of you guys who are from Denver, Colorado, well, mostly because I know there's a lot of people in Colorado Springs, and then you got some people in Fort Collins. But if you're like me and you kind of live on the border of two of the bigger counties in Colorado, um, geez, let's see. I essentially went from back and forth is about a good 90-mile drive. So going to this mall and coming back this way, and then headed back a little bit of a shorter distance to another store to find this, to find that. I mean, I never realized it, man. Driving really wears you out. And I remember when I was a kid, I couldn't wait till I started driving. Let me move this cam over. It looks a little. There we go. Let's lock it down. Never realized that driving could get to be so tiring. I mean, I'm just like ready to pass out. But something did catch my attention, and it was what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. If, so, right off the bat, let me just start by saying I have maybe used Reddit once to tell the story about my um, witnessing an experience of an exorcism that was done on my best friend at the time. Um, of course, we didn't have the iPhones or anything. The phones probably barely started video recording, but they how they call them potato quality phones or potato quality video. That's what it pretty much would have looked like if it were recorded. I recorded, however, the events on OBS, just me talking about the story in its entirety without any details missed. I mean, I hit every detail and I made sure to do that because it gave such a scare to our family, my family, I should say. And being that, as I've mentioned, I'm non denominational Christian, um, it scared a lot of people in my family to know what had happened. Uh, I've asked several times. No one has ever said anything. If you guys would want to hear it, I'll be more than happy to post it. It's about an hour long, uh, and honestly, I go from A to Z. I was gonna say A to B, but I go A to Z on this. Um, and I had posted it on Reddit, and I guess I don't understand how the rules were. And somebody grilled me saying like, you just want to go straight to posting as an OP or something. I didn't know what that meant, so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna post here. I believe she or he kept it up. I don't know. But I did talk to before he passed away, Mr. Art Bell from Coast to Coast AM. Um, a former girlfriend of mine. Her parents knew him and were friends with him, and when we were out in Vegas, uh, he lived in Nevada, and I actually got to meet him, which at the time was I was stoked because he was like I was totally into Coast to Coast AM, and not as much as I used to be, but I learned a lot about people like Bob Lazar, Linda Moulton Howe, Whitley Strieber. I mean, you name it. All these people who have been doing this for years and years. And while I met him at my ex's, not my psycho ex, but ex girlfriend's, parents' house, I told him what had happened. And he said if I would tell the story on his Ghost to Ghost AM, which they had me on the air and I told it. And yeah, even he said that's pretty fucked up story. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So caught his attention. So like I said, if you guys are ever interested in hearing about it, I'll be more than happy to post it if you want me to. Until then, some of the interesting topics that I found today while just driving around, it really caught my attention. So I'm hoping that somebody could school me more on Reddit and what are the principles for, posting when you, what, like, am I missing something if I just go straight to posting, or do I have to create a Reddit, like I know I have a Reddit account, but like a subreddit is just like a column in which would be like a sports column, your piece in a sports column, or like the RIB, the Reddit Investigation Bureau, or something like that, like posting leads or things like that. Like, do I have to find like a scary Reddit topic and then put the story there, or could I create my own? I don't know. I really don't know. So if you guys could school me on that, that would be great. In the meantime, these are some stories that I found pretty interesting. So I don't do a lot of Reddit stuff because, again, I don't understand it. But I hope you guys enjoy this. So let me get this shrunk down because I know I keep on forgetting sometimes that there's my big old mug right there, this big old ugly mug. So let me go ahead and pull this up. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So I'll be right back. And here we go.
Reddit doesn't exactly have the cleanest record in the world. It seems like every time Reddit is in the news, it's always about some sort of crazy thing that was hosted on the website. While the subreddits within the website can get really vile, people don't often stop and think about who are the people posting this stuff. So, today, we're going to look into the most disturbed Reddit user. Before we hop in the video, I just want to take a second and say that I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourself, I hope you're feeling okay, and whatever you may be going through, I know that you'll be able to pull through. Just make sure to take care of yourself and keep going. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, enough of my blabbering, let's hop in today's video. Odd Beginnings. On October 27th of 2019, Reddit user SnappedFingers would join the website. While this Reddit user's name does sound like some awesome metal band, his post history is far from awesome. At 7:18 a.m. the same day, their first post ever on r/advice opens up with them discussing how they are seeing and hearing things that aren't there. From featureless, fleshy figures that follow him around to hearing non-existent dog barks. There is no shortage of scary or creepy things that lie within this post. Lately, I've been seeing and hearing things that aren't there even more than normal. Most of the time, it's small things, like seeing spiders on me, in my peripheral vision, only to look at them and they disappear. Rarely, there's full-body visual hallucinations. The last one was from a couple years ago, when I was taking out the garbage. The silhouette of a child, crunched down on all fours, charged me, only to disappear when I looked at it. And before that, there was a large, fleshy, naked, featureless figure slowly walking on all fours in the room down the hall, approx the average size of a man. All throughout my childhood, I would have this thing that would go in my ear. This one used to terrify me, but it's gotten beyond old. Not reacting to it seems to have gotten rid of that one. Now your first thought upon hearing this is probably, okay, have you talked to any friends about this? Have you gotten any help? Have you reached out to any doctors? And it's funny you mention that because he addresses that in the post. He says that he doesn't want any doctors involved because they've apparently treated him like a science experiment before, and he also doesn't want any medication. He's also in some shape and form straight edge. He has never done any illicit drugs, alcohol, smoking, and he never really plans on doing so. So he's sober. He also never reached out to friends because they've reportedly kicked him to the curb, so I'm guessing there's some type of distrust with his friends and can't really open up to them about whatever's going on in his life. The user's next post would be on November 16th of 2019. While it is only just a YouTube video, it shows a crackhead running up and down a sewer. Pretty odd stuff, and honestly nothing really of significance, but I feel it's worth the mention. It's the next post that gets me a little bit concerned. The same day on r/ask, he opens up with a question. If I bite off my own finger, could it be reattached or attached somewhere else? So this guy is hearing stuff that isn't there, he's seeing stuff that isn't there, and now he's just asking questions on what would happen if he cut off a finger and tried to reattach it somewhere else. Just asking questions. The description of the post isn't any better. It literally just says, title, because I need to. Of course, the internet being the internet, the comments range from, hey man, it seems like you should probably get some help, all the way to, yeah bro, let me help you out, I'll teach you how to do it. His questions and comments only get more disturbing, especially in the next post, in regards to what happened in 2008 with a power drill. This post would come roughly 20 minutes after the last one. In 2008, I stuck a power drill into my arm. For as long as I can remember, I could see and hear things that weren't real, and still do. I usually see them in my peripheral vision, and when I go to look at them, they disappear. But sometimes the big ones don't go away when seen. Sometime back in 2008, I was putting together a shelf when this large black mass came out of nowhere and engulfed my unoccupied arm. I didn't see it till it was right up on me. It scared me so badly, and it was coming up from my arm for my face, so I started jamming the drill into it. On the second strike, I hit my arm, and the hallucination dissipated. Had to lie when I went to get it patched up. Said I slipped and stuck myself.
So you have a guy who doesn't want to go to the doctors, but yet when he went to go get it patched up, whether he did the patch-up job himself, which it doesn't sound like it, or he had somebody else do it who isn't a doctor, you know, he came to reality. And the reason why I did not believe this when I heard it immediately was working around individuals. Like I said, my staff, when I left the music industry and I started working at the VA Medical Center with people who had a documented disabilities. So we had access, of course, with their consent, to any HIPAA information. Our goal was to evaluate how their illness, whatever it may be, would affect their ability to work a competitive job. Now, when I say competitive, everyday job for you, me, everyone else. My job was to give them a supportive work site. And the way we did that is if they... Now, mind you, logistics for a hospital is not, to be taken lightly. You're getting letters for God, why is the word escaping me now? Oh, son of a bitch. What the hell is it? Oncology. Cancer, doctors. You're getting a letter back or a package, parcel back, test results that need to be delivered to and directly to these doctors to begin whatever treatment they need to, or to relieve the patient of worrying that, tests came back, negative, you don't have cancer, celebrate, you get to live your life to the fullest, as long as you have, you've been blessed with. This guy right here, to me, and another good thing about what we did was giving them a supportive work site. And I don't mean to be using, the pronouns, adjectives, all this bullshit. I'm just saying them because they are our clients, and using clients every single time is just inconvenient. So if I just say them, it's not being derogatory, and that's not my intentions. But we would pay them on upwards of $28 to $30 an hour A lot of them could only work like 5 hours so they don't go over the threshold where they would stop receiving their SSI benefits. Some of them were very young too. So they were already receiving, SSI or, food stamps or, money from the VA for being injured, while on duty. Multiple, rare reasons, but the most type of clients that I received were individuals with a documented disability, mental, and that could range anywhere from just depression, ADHD, ADD, all the way to paranoid schizophrenic. And one of them, sweetest, wonderful little black lady I will never forget her. She just had this beautiful smile that would just light up the room, just brighten everyone's day. And even the doctors, even administrative staff would come down and just say hi to her because she would just give this beautiful smile. And if you were to tell her something funny, she would just laugh. She had, not one of those annoying laughs, but just a sweet, soft, gentle laugh, that was loud. But, some of the things I always used to tease her about, I would say, her name, and she would answer me back, and I'm like, can I ask you a question? She's like, what kind of question you want to ask me? Because she couldn't say ask. She would say X. And when I would point that out to her, she would start laughing her ass off. She was like, how do I say it? I'm like, you're saying axe. Like, you're chopping a tree down like axe. I said, it's ass. And she's like, oh, you cussing over here? So she was just a sweetheart. Now, she had a shot every month. And when that shot was wearing down and it was about time for her to get her shot, that's when the paranoid schizophrenia started taking over. I could ask her the smallest of questions like, with me, a supportive work site, I let my clients go home early and I let them, if they came in late 15 minutes, I didn't give a I was there to support them and I still paid them, but if they took advantage of it, then yeah, I would tell them something. But I had just asked her a simple question. She actually had the longest tenure out of anybody there. And so I had one time asked her, like, are you all prepped and ready to go? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I go down to the canteen, go buy myself, like diet soda, whatever, come back, and she's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, you got upset and mad at me and this and that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to. Like, you want to talk about it or something? And paranoid schizophrenia is also hallucinate a lot. And she says she would see what she described only as the devil when, her shot was coming close. And once she got, over the crying portion of it, she's like, well, I'm going to get my shot tomorrow. Before the end of the day, when we were done with everything, because they would have two mail runs, one logistics, I oversaw both the mail run and the parcels. Parcels, you're talking about like large boxes of freaking God only knows what, like probably Vicodin and oxycodone and morphine and all the drugs that go to the pharmacy, all the tests, lab tests, on dry eyes that go to our lab, everything that would go to inpatient care, you know, anything that you could think of that might get, sent to a hospital came through me and came through our facility and came through what I oversaw. And after, a crying session as the day went on before I let them go, we would have a lot of, not a lot, but a little bit of downtime. Never once did she want to talk about what had happened in that state of mind. And then even when she got her shot and was back to normal as somebody could be who has a documented disability like that, she would never be saying the shit like this guy is saying. And trust me, she has said some weird shit before, about seeing things, about, self-harm or self-mutilation, or feeling like, there was things under her skin, this and that. And I feel so bad for her because she was such a sweetie, didn't have a mean bone in her body. But and just that illness, really got her. But this guy, more or less, is looking for attention. I'm not a doctor, but I could say that I've been around enough people with, disabilities and mental disabilities at that he is just looking for a reaction, an attention getter. And I could be 50% right or 50% wrong. Either way, I don't buy it. Now, I'm definitely not saying that the guy is completely 100% full of shit, but because every mental illness has its own, I guess, caveat, you can say, for lack of better terms. But yeah, I mean, to me, this would almost cry attention.
Many people were very quick to hop in and say, hey, look, man, this type of behavior should be checked out by some type of expert or professional. Of course, SnappedFingers resisted, saying that he doesn't need help. This was basically an echo of the last thing that he said, which was he doesn't want to end up in a nut house and he doesn't want to be some sort of science experiment to the doctors. He proceeds to try to downplay what's going on by saying that 90% of the time, other people don't even really know what's happening, and as long as I don't respond to the stuff in public, I'll be good. It'll be fine. I don't know if it should be stated, but this is obviously not the way to go about your issues and problems. Deeper understanding. Now, this is when stuff gets interesting. I don't exactly agree with the way this user approached the reply to SnappedFingers, since it seems like they're kind of feeding into their delusions, but I believe it gives us some good insight into the mind of SnappedFingers. User Opinions Cause Trouble had this to say. I wonder if maybe you can see into another dimension. I hope this doesn't cause you any more pain. Why is it when you see more than others, you are an asset to a team? But when you see things others cannot, you are crazy. I hope you find a balance in this world, however you see fit. I hope you were paying attention earlier because now I'm going to be doing a callback. Do you remember those spiders that he mentioned in his first post? Well, he actually brings them up once again. Snapped has began calling these spiders interdimensional spiders, but he is a little bit skeptical on that label because he isn't really too sure on what's going on. From there, he begins to talk about some interdimensional merge that a user on Discord has been telling him about. The other day, there was some guy on Discord telling me about a dimensional merge. Not sure I buy it. But point being, he said something about reality being weaker in some places, causing stuff like this. And some of the things that appear seem to be curious, as they just look at me then hide. Like when I'm in bed, there's these weird arm things as thick as a fist that pop up in my peripheral at the side of my bed. And when I look at them, they dive back down the side of the bed. His next two posts would be normal, one being on r/y and the other being r/halo. Then, in the upcoming days after that, he would go back to his, I guess, regularly scheduled program. This post shows a very dramatic change in the way SnappedFingers is going about any of the problems that he's dealing with. On November 24th of 2019, he would make a post in r/ritualistic Reddit. Here is what he said. How much of you do interdimensional beings require to leave you alone for good? Blood ritual. This entire post details how he's had conversations with these experts on Discord that would fix these hallucinations, or rather these interdimensional beings, as he calls them. These experts claim that Snapped has to give some type of portion of himself in order to get these interdimensional beings to leave him alone. He then starts to mention how he is a little bit skeptical on whether or not this type of thing would even work. And I guess I can appreciate that. He's not just hopping in willy-nilly about potentially doing like a blood ritual or something. He's a little bit skeptical. This post is very important because Snapped no longer believes that these are just hallucinations. The people on Discord, these experts, have convinced him that these are real. These are actual interdimensional beings that are trying to get to him. Knowing now that this isn't hallucinations like I once thought, but interdimensional beings, I seek others who might have experience with banishing them, and hopefully there's a solution that's less extreme. Similarly to our last scenario, we would have 2 more normal posts, and then 1 more discussing these interdimensional beings. On January 19th of 2020, SnappedFingers would take to r/askReddit and ask this question. If you see interdimensional beings, how do you deal with them? This post wasn't too engaging in terms of the comments, the most popular one saying that you should have intercourse with them. 3 minutes later though, Snapped would post an r/advice. How do I go about banishing interdimensional beings more effectively? For context, no, this is not medical.
And probably not posting it on Reddit.
At first I thought butt was hallucinations, but this is not the case. I met some experts on this site that assured me that these are in fact interdimensional beings. With that out of the way, I came to ask about better ways to banish interdimensional beings. Currently, I only know the 2 methods listed below, but they either require hassling the local church, which kicked me out, see Viridian's method, and making a big mess or putting myself in peril, Viridian's method. Currently, I'm using the method of mixing turpentine, a bit of my own blood, and holy water. A small glass enough to banish smaller interdimensional beings, but not larger ones. Master Gee's method. The other method can banish larger interdimensional beings, but at the cost of a part of oneself being sacrificed to the entity. Frankly, this method is too risky. Ended up with a hospital stay over it, among other BS. Sorry, Master Geese. I appreciate the advice, though. This post would eventually get removed by moderators, but can easily be recovered through various tools online. Almost all of these comments are begging SnappedFingers to get help, that he's mentally unwell, he needs to see somebody, that this is not okay, and that you shouldn't be hurting yourself for whatever interdimensional beings are trying to get to you. One comment that I found to be very interesting was one saying that Snapped is actually being manipulated. Snapped obviously would get on the defense, saying that this is absolutely not the case, and that the people on the 4chan board Paranormal have been really nice to him and helping him understand what's going on. Fascinatingly, Snapped would kind of begin to see things through a new lens though, saying stuff like this. This has been kind of a wake-up call. These last 2 months I've been really off the deep end. I think I'm going to get some appointment booked when they open again. Unfortunately, I'm unsure whether or not Snapped would actually go through with this appointment. I would like to bring attention to a comment at the very bottom of this Reddit post from a now currently deleted Reddit account. Using a recovery tool, we can tell that this user's name is Days Long Past and is telling Snap to get on Discord and that it's mission critical. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this is one of the people that was manipulating Snapped, especially when you take a look at their interaction. Chief, please check your DMs. Discord, it's mission critical. I'll call you guys later, but I want to know the truth now. No BS. It's super late in my end at the moment. I need to crash. Just be sure you check your DMs, Chief. And don't worry, everything will make sense. If you'll still be on for a bit, let's continue this on either Discord or DMs. The Paris Catacombs. So these next few Reddit posts do have a lot in common, and because of this, I'm going to speak with them with a lot more fluidity. If you want to check out the posts, they are online. SnappedFingers would take to Reddit on multiple occasions, talking about hell portals that lie within the Paris Catacombs, and how interdimensional beings lie within them, and that he needs to close said portal. Snapped would go on from discussing the closure of these portals and how to get assistance from Jesus and how to find unofficial travel routes of the Paris Catacombs. I'll be honest, I'm not a...
Honestly, is it just me, or does this not just sound of hey, I need attention. Show me attention, people. It's hard to believe anything this man has to say. I'm not talking about, obviously, Knight. But, he actually comes out with some pretty good stuff. So you should give him a subscribe. He's really good. I've been listening to some of his other stuff before, and yeah, he's climbing up there in subs. I'm always glad to see that.
Psychiatrist of any kind, but with what I'm about to read to you, I'd like to say that this reeks of schizophrenia. Obviously, you draw your own conclusions, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Advice for traversing unofficial routes in the Paris catacombs. In a few short days, I will be traveling via an alternative means to Paris to bypass the lockdown. I am making this trip to shut down the Hell Portal deep within the Paris catacombs. This portal is responsible for enabling an interdimensional hell incursion into our world. The twisted beings coming from this portal cannot be seen by all, but I can see them, and they aren't quite nice. They reach under your door and charge at you, or if they're small, crawl all over you. I'm considering a small chainsaw for limb sacrifice if I'm cornered by a large interdimensional being and need a quick out. But I don't have any means of halting the bleeding.
So what gave him the idea that they were coming from the Paris catacombs? Was it this psycho dude who's saying mission critical?
Snapped would go on to post 2 more times. One being that he's possessed and needs to be cured, and the other being how he doesn't have enough funds to go into the Paris catacombs and seal that portal. His final post would be on May 5th of 2020 at 6:08 a.m. No comments, no posts, no activity. The return. On May 20th of 2022, Snapped would log into his account and would post in a few different subreddits. One being on r/Left4Dead, asking about mods not working in a game mode, the other being in r/Steam, asking if it's possible to merge an account, and the last being in r/SCP Secret Lab, asking how to get better at the game. His account would remain inactive all the way up until October 29th of 2022. Snapped would take to r/Steam once more and inquire about the Steam authenticator numbers not allowing him to log in. In his profile, Snapped left a message in regards to the tone shift of his activity. I'm not dead, and I have renounced the portal stuff. I only want people to forget this or write it off as nonsense. I no longer wish to be haunted by the ghost of this situation. I want to move on. While SnappedFingers wishes to move on from this, it really does make me wonder if he ever will be able to do so. Has he gotten the help that he needs? Does he no longer believe in these delusions? And most importantly, has he gotten rid of those people that were manipulating him? I guess we won't really know. If you're interested in further Night content, I highly encourage you to click somewhere around my face and watch another video of mine. I think you will enjoy it a lot. Before we hop in the end segment though, I would like to thank my Tormented Knights and my Knighted patrons. For my Tormented...
Like I said, to me, the way this whole thing plays out, from beginning to end, of which Mr. Knight here went over, just screams of attention from the SnappedFingers guy. And I think Reddit is a good place to... So, yeah, I forgot where I was at with all this, but, give me your honest opinion. What do you think? Like I said, just because I worked with people with disabilities doesn't mean I'm a pro with people with disabilities or being able to actually give them some diagnosis. But it just seems to me like this guy was way out of left field trying to get the attention. And the more weird and off the cuff you are, I guess you would say, is going to attract attention and you might achieve what you want. But that's just my opinion. I don't mean to be harsh or anything. So let me know what you guys think. Sorry for getting the videos out so late tonight. Like I said, Christmas shopping is up. But, like always, I love you guys for just even watching
my videos, and I don't mean to take from Mike Go. I apologize about that, but no, it honestly does mean of more than you would realize that any one of you would take the time to watch a video that I make. Like I said, when I first started this less than a year ago, I was shocked that I even got past 10 views, 10 subscribers. Now I'm shooting for 400. You know, I'm like, when is 1,000 gonna happen? When is this gonna happen? And I say it all the time. I rarely ask, hey, like and subscribe. Like some guys will remind you two, three, four times. That's what I respect about Mike O is that he never ever says like and subscribe. It's basically just hey you and welcome, and it's because I love you, Mike out, and he has 1.74 million. I'm nowhere near where Mike is at, but like I said, I do plan on revamping the page coming in March. Hopefully that will bring on more subscribers. But yeah, for the people who have subscribed, shows your analytics, and I don't have as many returning subscribers to watch videos. Usually it's always new ones. So if you're new to the channel, feel free to drop me a subscribe and a like. If you don't like the channel or feel like trolling on me, I seriously don't mind whatsoever. It's something that I could build off of and get better at certain things, and so any feedback is appreciated. So in the meantime, my call out sign is peace out, guys. I'll be back very shortly.